So I'm going to quickly go through outdoor warning sirens and lightning detectors. I know Ricky already touched on some of this, but I wanted to do more Schaumburg specific because that's where most of us live, I would hope, right? So we're going to go over quick lightning facts. What are lightning detectors? How do they work? Where they're located. Outdoor warning sirens, how do they work? And where they are in the village. So some lightning facts, and Ricky can correct me if I'm wrong. It's a little intimidating having a meteorologist behind you. Lightning causes an average of 80 deaths and 300 injuries a year. 92% of lightning injuries and deaths occur between May and September, and lightning can strike more than 10 miles away from any rainfall. Accurate?
Yes.
Okay. So I put this story up here because I thought this was super interesting. Lightning may hit the same place or person several times. Ray Sullivan, a retired National Park Ranger, was hit 7 times. He has been knocked down, picked up, thrown in the air, lost his shoes and a toenail, and can't hear as well, but he's alive. So I'm not sure if it hit him 7 times all at the same time, but I think if I would have been hit once, I would have found a career change because, all right. Strikeguard lightning warning system. This is what the village has. We own 2 lightning warning systems, but there are 45 more that are owned by the park district within the village limits. Depending on the model of the unit, they can detect lightning from 7 to 10 mile radius of each one. So ours are across from Village Hall Plaza and Schaumburg Town Square, mostly because that's where we have our events. We have our September Fest, we have our the food pantry and the market, and what's the other thing called? The outdoor concerts, correct. The park district locations are located near select parks, pools, golf courses, all the places where we would need them for open fields and lightning threats. Here's the park district lightning and warning system map. So there's quite a few of them. When lightning is detected, a warning will sound with a 15-second siren and a flashing strobe light. After the conditions are safe, the siren will sound intermittent blast and the strobe light will turn off. That means it's safe to go back outside. They only operate during the hours of 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. because most people don't care about lightning at midnight or 1 in the morning, and we don't want it waking everybody up. If a park is closed, the lightning detector will not be operational. So if the park is closed for the day for construction or closed for any other reason, just know that the lightning detectors will not be active for that. So I have a little sound here. This is what a siren sounds like when it activates. Okay. And then when it's safe to come back. Hear the difference? Okay. So what to do if a siren activates? First, if you see lightning, hear thunder, do not wait for the siren to activate. That is your warning, right? You heard it, you saw it, go inside. Seek shelter immediately, avoid car parts, porches, garages, sheds, tents, baseball dugouts, bleachers. If there's no substantial shelter available, seek shelter in a hardtop vehicle, not a convertible, with the windows rolled up. Stay away from trees, electrical poles, tall objects, and do not lay flat on the ground for lightning. Crouch down on the balls of your feet to create the lowest profile. Okay? This is why. So when lightning strikes an object, there is a voltage current that comes out, and you can have different step potential currents that come out. So if you're standing anywhere near an object, you can still get the current that is coming through the ground, all right? So you don't lay on the ground because if you put your whole body flat on the ground, then your whole body is in contact with the current, correct? So you just want the tips of your feet with your heels put together, make sure they're touching. If electricity, it'll save your life. Do the best you can. Do the best you can. All right, so I got a little video here. You can see the graphic. Lightning strikes the tree, and you can see the current go through, and the gentleman in this circle over here, or close to the circle, I should say, gets zapped, right? So as Ricky said, never stand under trees. No, maybe not. So a lot of bad ways that you don't want to stand by trees because you'll get hurt. All right. Never stand in a group. This is actual footage of some people standing in a group under a tree.
In the past, we've mostly relied on fundamental information.
Part.
And now we throw this extra element in here that I'm responsible for.
All right, so you see him in the square in the far corner, right? So they're going to play it again one more time. All right, they did end up surviving, but obviously they were pretty shooken up. Never lie flat on the ground. We already discussed that. And did you know using a corded telephone or the shower during a thunderstorm is the leading cause of indoor lightning injuries? How many people still have corded telephones? Don't use it during a thunderstorm. It's funny because my mom, when I was super young, used to tell me you can't take a shower during a thunderstorm, and I always thought she was crazy. I thought it was an old wives' tale, and then I logged into the National Weather Service, and on their page it said that the shower is one of the leading causes of indoor lightning injuries, and said, Mom, I apologize. All right, so moving on, outdoor warning sirens. Like Ricky said, they alarm when something life-threatening is happening and you should go indoors. They are only meant to be heard outdoors. I received probably 50 phone calls last year when we had that severe weather outbreak, and people said, you know what? Your sirens are too low. I can't hear them in my room. They're not waking me up from my sleep. And I said, well, they're outdoor warning sirens. Okay, they're not intended to hear in your house, in your basement, because if you hear those when you're outside, they're pretty loud. Could you imagine how loud they'd have to be to hear in your basement, right? And these outdoor warning sirens, they do not have an all clear. So like the lightning detectors, you'll get that all clear tone. Outdoor warning sirens, you will not get an all clear tone. When do they activate? You get it with the receipt of a tornado warning from the National Weather Service in the village or any other town that touches the community. So since we touch Elk Grove, for instance, if Elk Grove has a tornado warning, it will also go off for us. Now, we designed it that way because we figure we're close enough that we want to give everybody a heads up in advance notice. Other towns don't necessarily do that, but we decided that it was important. If we're touching a town, we want our residents to be a little bit more aware. They might go off occasionally more often, but better safe than sorry in our mind. You'll get it for a confirmed sighting of a tornado tracking toward the community that's reported by a trained weather spotter within the community or surrounding communities, and reports of significant ongoing storm damage due to winds of 70 miles per hour or greater with golf ball size or greater hail reports. So let me go back to that really quick. A common misconception is they're only going to go off for a tornado, but they will also go off if you have 70-mile-an-hour winds that are sustained with golf ball size hail. So it doesn't necessarily mean it's strictly a tornado, it just means it's a really dangerous situation and we want you to go inside, okay? So here's the Schaumburg specific warning, outdoor warning sirens. We have a total of 9. The siren radius is approximately 1.5 miles. The siren covers 98% of the village, but we also share areas with Hoffman and Streamwood that cover the other 2% of our area. All sirens are activated by Northwest Central Dispatch, not the village. So we will never activate an outdoor weather siren. Last year, with the severe weather outbreak again, I was also receiving phone calls if I could turn the siren off because people were trying to go to bed. Which I have zero control. I don't have a magic button on my desk. I can't hit it and turn it on and off, all right? If the National Weather Service puts a polygon that says here's your warning area, and that polygon is within our jurisdiction or it's touching one of the communities within our jurisdiction, then our dispatch center will alert and set off the sirens for us. So we have zero control over the sirens being activated. We rely on our dispatch center to do that for us. All sirens are tested monthly, the first Tuesday of the month. I get this question all the time. What if there's a tornado on the first Tuesday of the month at 10 o'clock, right? Well, if there is even the slightest threat of severe weather in our area, we will not test the sirens on the first Tuesday of the month, correct? Mostly because we know there's a threat of severe weather. We don't want people to get confused. So if you know there's severe weather potential in the area and you're hearing the first Tuesday of the month and there's hail coming down, just take shelter. Give me the benefit of the doubt on that one. Facts to know, a siren will activate for 5 minutes once the alert is received. It'll turn off after that initial 5 minutes and then reactivate every 10 minutes until the threat is over. So how do you know the threat is over? It won't reactivate after 10 minutes, okay? Last year, we had sirens going off for over an hour due to a consistent threat. Who remembers that? Day after day, it was like Groundhog Day. Again. And I even sat at my desk and I said, oh my God, again? This is getting incredible. Do not become complacent. I know they're loud, I know they're going off, and it's like the cry wolf, right? They go off so many times and you don't want to believe it's going to happen, but it does happen. So do not become complacent. Did you know you can see where your closest siren is by using the new interactive outdoor warning siren map? Fancy, right? I'm going to show it to you. So it's on our village website. Find a siren near you. It's almost like find a target near you, right? You can type in your address. So we can type in here. It'll put a little dot. See a little marker here? You can see which outdoor warning siren is the closest to you. So this one is 0.44 miles away, Collins School. It covers 6,000 feet, and it'll show you if it's active, which means it is ready to go and receiving alerts. If it is red, it'll mean that it is disabled or under maintenance. So what makes this map interesting is you can see if you are within the boundaries of 2 sirens, so if you're in a radius of 2 circles, it's going to be louder because you're going to be receiving it from this side and you're going to be receiving it from this side. If you're in the radius of 5 circles, right here, it's going to be super loud, right? But if you are up here and you are on the border of a circle, it might not be as loud. So it's important to know where you're at. The other thing to know is after the Naperville and Lyle Woodridge tornado last year, our dispatchers went through some training to make sure to activate the sirens appropriately, how to do it. They went through town by town. When they do the monthly test, they have a single button for the monthly test, and it sets off everybody's sirens at the same time. So you can be hearing Elk Grove, Arlington Heights. You can hear everybody at the same time in our area. Well, last year, they did one at a time, just to test it, right? What happened was we freaked a whole lot of people out because it wasn't as loud as it used to be, and they thought something was wrong with the sirens. And so I said, first of all, I give you guys a whole lot of credit because I can't tell if it's as loud as it's supposed to be. But what was happening was people in these circles had multiple and shared it with another town weren't hearing the other town, they were only hearing theirs. And it was significantly less volume, so they didn't hear it as loud, so they thought there was a problem with it. So just keep that in mind. If you are within multiple radius, you're going to hear a lot more defined volume of the siren. I got a weather radio, and Ricky had mentioned this, and I think there's a whole lot of questions in the room. What is a WEA? What is a WEA, right? Who in here has a smartphone? Most people, right? Who has a newer smartphone, maybe 2010 and above? Okay, so smartphones and smartphone providers have WEA messages, warning, I have wireless emergency alerts. I have a whole handout here for you on the table of wireless emergency alerts. The great thing about these alerts is that local county, state, federal governments can set off an alert in a jurisdiction. So let's say somebody in here is from Indiana. If you're in Schaumburg and there is an alert in Schaumburg, we can actually hit a button and anyone whose cell phone is within the Schaumburg boundary will automatically get an alert on your cell phone. They're very loud. You have to make sure your cell phone is activated for WIA alerts. And I have instructions on how to do that, links on how to do that, which phones accept them, which phones do not accept them, which providers accept them, which providers don't accept them. All on this handy little piece of paper, okay? So Schaumburg's risk, we're at a moderate risk for tornadoes. Largest tornado in Schaumburg was an F5 in 1990, 350 injuries, 29 deaths. And then we got Naperville, Lisle, Woodridge. Only 25 miles from us, guys. It's scary to know we get complacent, but 25 miles away last year, this is what happened. And it's so important that we don't ignore these warnings, that we do pay attention. So 400 homes were damaged in that tornado, 157 sustained major damage, and 29 complete loss. 25 miles away from us. Remember, severe storms are becoming more and more common. Don't become complacent. Storms can strike at any time. And I know the sirens are loud. I know they can be annoying. They can go off at inconvenient times. They can go off for extended amount of time due to a continuous threat. Like I said last year, so I think they went off for 2 hours, just over and over, and people were walking out and going, what is going on? And that's the last thing I want you to do is walk in your front yard and look at what's going on. But they can also save your life, all right? So please don't become complacent. I know they go off. I know 99% of the time it's not a threat and it doesn't happen, but just last year it did happen and it was way too close for home for us. Okay? All right. Any questions for me? Yes.
Do you remember, I think, was it 2 years ago at Septemberfest? We were all crowded under the food tent.
That is not a good place to stand. I don't recommend standing under a tent.
Right.
Septemberfest, we do have shelter locations, and those shelter locations, you should have been ushered into those areas. I'll try and work on that in the future. But yes, you should not be sheltered under a tent. That's one of the worst places you want to be. You've seen some of the festivals where the winds have whipped through a tent and actually collapsed on people, and so it's a very unsafe location. Yes, sir.
In 1990, we had tornadoes in Schaumburg.
I wasn't here, but I'm assuming Google is correct.
I don't remember.
That's the Plainfield tornado. Google's not correct. Yes, sir.
One of your earlier slides, it said, and I think that's what's confusing me, it said the sirens are active from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. and only in the winter months?
Not in the winter months, no. That was, did it really?
Yeah.
That is incorrect. Let me go back, let me see here. It was the siren or the lightning detectors? Lightning, lightning, lightning.
Right there.
Oh,
Third dot.
that's not correct. I don't even remember putting that in there. No, that is incorrect.
When are they operational?
They are operational all the time from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m.
Summer, winter?
Correct. Not that we really get many thunderstorms in the winter, but any other questions for me? I can answer more questions after as well. Yes, sir.
I'm in the far northwest corner, like Walnut and Bodie,
Okay.
almost a block away from the limits. I never hear sirens up there.
You are closest to
1 block to the west is Streamwood.
Streamwood does have sirens.
Do they?
I'm not sure exactly where they are located.
I've been there since '77, I don't recall sirens.
They do have, I know every town surrounding us has sirens available. I'm not sure,
I'm almost as close to Hoffman as I am.
okay, I'm not sure how operational they are in Streamwood. They should be just as operational as ours.
Black away is Streamwood.
Might want to call their emergency manager and